Hi, and welcome back to Pokemon Emerald. As you can see, we are in the middle of hatching an egg, and that is because I started recording an episode and everything crashed in the middle of it, so I lost all that footage. So here we are. We have hatched about maybe 18, 19 eggs since I swapped the mother that was in the daycare with a new mother that has triple flawless and defense, special attack, and speed. The same father. I'll have to move out the father soon because it's going to learn a move in a couple of levels, I believe. So I'll have to go to the move deleter and erase that move. But I guess we can't have perfect luck all the time with recording. So hopefully we are on the path to... Well, we are on the path, but I mean hopefully we're inching closer to hatching the triple flawless we're looking for. I guess in the meantime I can sort of chatter about things that have been going on in sort of the Pokemon sphere. Things like spin-off games. So Pokemon Sleep, the beta testing is out on Android devices. The full release is planned for the end of the month, so we've got a few weeks to go. People in the beta aren't really allowed to post much information, so we're not getting a whole lot of information. We just know things, small details, like apparently there are shiny Pokemon in Pokemon Sleep. That information makes me hope that the game is compatible with Pokemon Home, so that Pokemon encountered and captured in Pokemon Sleep could possibly be transferred to Home, and then transferred to main series games. That would be nice. Pokemon Go is doing their 7th anniversary celebrations, but the response has been kind of lackluster because their offerings to commemorate the anniversary haven't been great in the game, and fans aren't too happy with the current state of the game because Niantic has rolled back all of the quality of life things they added during the pandemic. So the game is back to its original state where rural players can't really enjoy the game. It's basically designed so it has to be played in urban areas. And that has been something that Niantic has been sort of struggling with since the game's release. And I think that their design philosophy for the game is noble. But realistic applications are... they face limitations and troubles that they haven't been able to really overcome with the real-world applications of the game. I think that the smartest thing to have done would have been to find a middle ground between the quality of life stuff they added for the pandemic, keeping some middle ground between that and the way the game was. Probably would have made fans a lot happier. But as it stands, that's the way things are. In Pokemon Masters EX, they're adding Charmin Rose and Alina, which is expected. Now there's an airplane going overhead. So they added Charmin Rose and Alina to Pokemon Masters EX. Which makes sense because they're basically about to cut caught up. I'm thinking they just need to start adding the Scarlet and Violet characters, which will probably be the thing they do over the next year for EX. Then I think that's it for the game, side game talk. There have been rumors floating around about the DLC that's coming. I haven't paid too much attention to those rumors. At the top of the list probably will be things like new Paradox Pokemon, which at this point I think it's going to be guaranteed. There will be new Paradox Pokemon in the game. Well, the DLC added to the game through the DLC. There's also been rumors about possible, the rumor mill in the fandom is already buzzing about possible either a Legends Arceus based on Unova or a Black and White remake. My thinking is that it seems like it's too soon to be talking about that. But also, maybe it's not. But I kind of feel like it is. Because the DLC content that's added to the game will basically equate to what would have been the third version changes and additions. So ideally that takes care of 2023. So what we're looking at is 2024, what Pokemon game would release in 2024. Now they could do a release pattern similar to what they did with the Legends Arceus and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. But I think that Game Freak witnessed sort of what happened and how ultimately Legends ended up sort of cannibalizing Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl in a sense. Because Legends was something so new and different. It told an entirely new story. It sort of expanded on lore in the game world. It offered, vast changes to the gameplay. And then Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl were just straight up remakes that were graphically unimpressive. So a lot of that just had to do with people not liking the art direction, which was a decision, and the fact that the game wasn't actually developed by Game Freak, being developed by Ilka, and that being the first main series Pokemon game developed by someone other than Game Freak, a studio other than Game Freak, I'd say it wasn't very successful, or at least not as successful as they were expecting it to be. So I think if Game Freak watched that and saw that and took note of how sort of Legends got all the shine for the year and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl ended up being not super well received. I mean, decently received, but not very well received. I think that their idea in the future would be to think about how to in the future they would be thinking about how to not have a Legends Arceus game stacked up the same year as a remake release if they are doing a Legends game and a remake game in the same year. How to not have them stacked up, and also what development decisions they could make so that the remakes aren't as badly received as Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are. And I'm using the terms badly received, poorly received, and such. I'm using them relatively because I believe Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl did sell decently. I mean, they weren't like disastrous flops or anything, just that they weren't as well received by the fandom as previous remakes were, because they did seem to be so bare bones compared to the offerings remakes like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire offered. It's a shame because, well, each generation is hyped as it reaches that age where remakes become more and more viable. But I don't want to say that Generation 4 was particularly hyped, but it kind of was. So, while I don't... I haven't really thought about it. I would say that's probably not the end of Ilka developing main series Pokemon games. Hopefully it is the beginning of them getting into the swing of things and getting a better sense of what it means to develop a main series Pokemon game. They'll probably continue handling remakes. But if they are going to continue handling remakes, then they definitely need to do better than what they did with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Should they be capable of that? And then Game Freak also has that other game on their table, even though ideally that's not taking any Pokemon resources. They do have that Souls-like game that they are working on. So maybe we'll see Ilka step up if they are doing a black and white remake. Of course, there's also the possibility that Game Freak will just hold off entirely. and not do any sort of remake or Legends Arceus game until maybe 2025, but I don't see that happening. Because the way their current development cycle is going for games, they're definitely going to release something in 2024. 2023, the major release in the main series Pokemon game world is going to be the DLC. Legends Arceus was a success, so there's a decent probability that they will do a sequel. That sequel will probably be based on Unova, even though there's sort of questions canon-wise about how that could happen, but they actually have, the way the main series is developed, they have opened other venues that can make a Legends Arceus style story possible. It doesn't have to be Arceus per se. Transporting people through time and taking us to different eras. Since there are plenty of other time traveling Pokemon and time traveling devices and systems that could be used. There's also the possibility that maybe another Legends game doesn't have to be time related at all. Because the multiverse was introduced to the Pokemon series, it could be another dimension or universe. And if my ever held on to conviction that there will eventually be space type and space Pokemon is ever to come to fruition, there could even be interplanetary style Pokemon adventures. There could be even though I feel like if they were going to do something interplanetary, it would be best to save that for an actual major generation main series, a new generation. I figure if they're going to introduce a space type, they would have to introduce it. If they were going to do interplanetary travel and the space type, they would have to introduce them in the same game, and that would be a new generation. If they're going to do interplanetary travel and there will never be a space type, then they could probably do that as a Legends style story. Or DLC in a main series game or something like that. But that's the way it goes with the main series. There's endless room for speculation. I guess that's it for the game talk. The last sort of thing was that the Pokemon Company did a collaboration with a K-pop boy band. I think they're called hoenn, and they released a song. I listened to the song and watched the music video, and you know, it was okay-ish. Reminded me of Ed Sheeran's Celestial, which was just okay. I think that their Pokemon plans to continue doing these type of music collaborations. I think that they're finding their feet. Of course, it's impossible to expect that every collaboration is going to be a big hit. And since it is music, it's very, very subjective. Musical tastes are subjective from person to person. And at the end of the day, if it's a big name that Pokemon collaborates with, it gets the brand name out there, regardless of how high quality the product is, ultimately to fans. As long as it isn't a disastrous product. But yeah, that musical piece felt kinda mid. At least to me. Celestial was also kinda mid, but I guess they're gonna continue going with that strategy. And I think that is probably it for kind of Pokemon style news. I did see it just in passing that there was a leak of a Charizard, a terrestrialized Charizard card that had really nice art for the TCG. I didn't stop and take a look at the card itself and read up on what information it had of like attacks and stuff. And I think there is a new set coming out for the TCG soon-ish. And that's probably it. And it seems that we are good with this episode. Seems to be recording properly. No disastrous blue screens of death or shutting down, no lost footage, so I'm happy with that. Okay, so in the next episode we will continue on. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe. I will especially appreciate your support on this episode since it was such a hassle to record with losing the footage and having to re-record. Thank you very much, and I will see you all in the next episode. Until then, farewell.